After all these years. Finally, we have them all.
Hi there everyone, Lars back with another review and analysis from Camille's Harem for the events that led up to Weirdmageddon after 10 years that the finale for Gravity Falls premiered. And wow, we finally get to some of the biggest episodes of the entire show with Mindscape and Gideon Rises, the grand climax to Season 1. Oh boy, there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about here. So in the penultimate episode for Season 1, we've got Gideon trying his absolute darndest in the acutest and most annoying way possible to try and steal the deed to the Mystery Shack, because obviously this is totally what would happen within legal spheres. If you manage to steal someone's deed, obviously you now own it. It's not like there's a notary public or anything like that. Oh no, absolutely not. Which leads to maybe one of the most satisfying takedowns in all of Gravity Falls.
But the question remains, who is the cat and who is the...
Zeus, bro!
Thoroughly defeated and humiliated, Gideon resorts to the most dangerous secret within the second journal, and that is summoning Bill Cipher. Back when this episode premiered, no one had any idea what the heck we were getting into. It's like, oh look, the weird triangle dude that you momentarily see in the opening. Oh yeah, okay, now we've got him, and he just seems like a really funny Dorito chip. Oh, what sweet summer children we were. But Gideon proves his absolute stupidity, because although he can be an absolutely conniving little snot, the truth is Gideon is actually really not as smart as he thinks he is, because he makes a deal with a demon without even considering what the demon actually wants in exchange for his help to get the code to break into the safe and steal the deed to the Mystery Shack. Gideon makes the agreement. Bill Cipher invades Grunkle Stan's head, and kind of at the worst time, because Grunkle Stan and Dipper are at real odds. There's some trouble in paradise. After the two have gone through some really nice bonding in recent episodes, well, they're back at it again, because Grunkle Stan is having Dipper do all kinds of chores and is provoking confrontation. As we come to find out, the reason for this is because Grunkle Stan wants Dipper to stand up for himself. He wants Dipper to get stronger and better, and obviously this is Grunkle Stan channeling his own experiences as a kid many decades before. But I think that after everything that's happened this summer thus far, and Grunkle Stan, as we come to learn, has been way more observant than he lets on, he sees that Dipper does need to grow up. Not necessarily be like what Dipper thinks he should do, where it's like, become a man as soon as possible. Yes, hit that puberty hard. But instead to be able to stand up for himself, know himself, and be equipped with everything that he needs to be true to himself. Now, because Grunkle Stan is not the greatest parental figure of all time, despite how fun he is, this is what leads to the miscommunication between these two characters, and Dipper just being a dumb 12-year-old. But in order to save the Mystery Shack, Dipper, Mable, and Zeus combine forces to go into Grunkle Stan's mind, and what an incredibly broken hellscape it is. Immediately to the observant viewers, you can tell that Grunkle Stan has been through a lot, and that there is a lot of baggage that he is carrying around, and a lot of really interesting clues that will lead to some fantastic reveals later on in the series. But it seems like the Pines and Zeus are at an absolute disadvantage at the beginning because, well, Bill Cipher is a master of the mind and proceeds to absolutely troll the three before breaking into Stan's mind proper and trying to find the code. And we get a hilarious sequence of the three of them going through Stan's memories, a lot of which probably should have been left alone.
Hey, Mr. Tummy.
Hey, Mr. Stan!
Oh, crackers.
Nom, nom, yum, yum.
The kid's a loser. He's weak. He's an utter embarrassment. I just want to get rid of him.
Yeah, when Dipper finds the part of a memory where it seems like Grunkle Stan's absolutely riffing on him, Dipper ducks out of the quest to save Stan, opening up the way for Bill Cipher to get away with the code, and seemingly he is going to get away with it all until Mable and Zeus knock the door with the memory down the bottomless pit. thereby completely swallowing up the memory. I wonder if that means that Grunkle Stan also completely lost the memory to the code. Whatever, we'll figure that out later. But to get revenge for having cost him an absolute golden opportunity with Gideon, Bill proceeds to begin torturing Mable and Seuss. Well, luckily enough for them, Dipper finally comes across the full memory of what Grunkle Stan was really trying to say, and it empowers him to return, especially once Grunkle Stan, interacting with Dipper, tells him, "Look, kid, you're in the mind. You can do all kinds of things." And with that knowledge, Mable is then unleashed when Dipper comes to the rescue, and Bill is fought to a standstill. And he's like, okay, no, we've gotten to a point where I'm not going to get what I want, and beating you guys is not in the cards right now, so we'll call it quits right here. Day saved, right? Well, not really, because Gideon has now arrived with the big guns and steals the deed to the Mystery Shack, totally legally, and is now in control, leading us to Gideon Rises.
Hey, do you guys feel it?
Oh, I'm sorry, Pines family. Did I wake you?
That was no dream, dude.
Now, this episode is an absolutely fascinating one because it goes to show how critical Grunkle Stan and the Mystery Shack are to the community at Gravity Falls, even though Grunkle Stan seems to have quite a few enemies within the town. And it's because once the Mystery Shack goes away, well, it means that Mable and Dipper are going to have to go back to California. This shatters the dynamic between Mable, Candy, and Grenda, breaking up just the true power team. Wendy is going to get shipped off to another part of the state because she no longer has a full-time job, which surprisingly is something that she doesn't even want to entertain, even in light of Robbie chasing her around with a stereo. I love this moment.
Oh man, guys, don't look now.
Take me back, Wendy! My arms are too skinny to keep holding this boombox forever. I need to send you more texts. Wendy!
Seuss is now also out of a job, Grunkle Stan is out of a job, and the town is now fallen completely under the control of one evil little charlatan. Well, Dipper and Mable are having none of that, and they decide to recruit the power of the gnomes to overwhelm Gideon and take back the deed and thereby reclaim the shack. However, it doesn't go as well as they would hope because Gideon just happens to have a dog whistle on him that drives all the gnomes crazy and turns them against Dipper and Mable, and allows Gideon to steal Dipper's journal. Well, now, with the great secrets of the shack at hand, what Gideon discovers is that there's 3 journals in order to unlock ultimate power, which is contained within the journals and supposedly within the shack. He will need all 3. He's like, well, if Dipper had that one journal, and if Dipper's been able to counter me at so many moments, that means he must also have the first journal! And so Gideon decides to go on the absolute warpath and use this massive mech bot that, good old McGucket has built for him, foreshadowing a really epic moment that will happen in Weirdmageddon, and chases after the twins who are at that very moment being sent back to California. As we get a really creepy chase of just this Gideon doll going after the bus, Seuss, Mable, and Dipper, and nearly succeeding, throwing Dipper as seemingly to his death until Dipper, tapping into what Grunkle Stan had been trying to teach him all this time, goes and fights back. Even though he doesn't have the journal, he doesn't have magic, he doesn't have anything other than himself. Himself is what counts the most. So he's able to bash into the Gideon bot right through the eye, and then we just get the most hilarious 11 to 12-year-old fight.
Let go of my sister!
Never! I finally won this time!
With the Gideon bot brought down and destroyed, the entire townsfolk from Gravity Falls arrive on the scene, and of course they're all behind Gideon because it's sweet little Gideon. But lo and behold, Grunkle Stan has one more revelation to give. You see, after having his his hearing aid burned a bit by the frequencies emitted by all of the little Gideon badges that everyone's been wearing, he shows that Gideon is not some sort of sidekick. He's also been lying to everyone, just like Grunkle Stan has been, and reveals that he's been spying on everyone. Now everyone turns against Gideon because Gideon has been trying to show himself as the absolute truth teller, while Grunkle Stan has owned it this whole time that he's always been a charlatan, but he's been a charlatan and man of the town. And so now that the townsfolk of Gravity Falls realize the truth, they all turn on Gideon, and Gideon is put away where he belongs, in the slammer.
No! Watch the hair! You can't do this to me! Yellow sheep! You need me! I'll be back!
This belongs to me.
The season ends with the day saved, the Pines reunited, everything is going to be right and good again in the world. And while everyone goes to sleep, Grunkle Stan goes once more behind the vending machine and reveals that he now has access to all 3 journals. And with the power of all 3 journals, he begins opening up a portal. And thus,
everything is different now.
Everything is different now.
yeah, I feel like that quote from Mable and Dipper back at the fair is probably actually the most appropriate for this episode. Now, for an analysis, these 2 episodes work absolutely well in tandem, and honestly, they need to be seen together. The reason for that is because Bill's introduction this late within the season is a signal to the audience that there are much, much bigger things afoot, that the show will indeed continue, not just the cliffhanger with Grunkle Stan. And in fact, Bill's introduction does a whole lot more than Grunkle Stan's reveal at the end of the last episode. The reason for that is because when Bill shows up, he's obviously a villain. And so now we have this all-new villain to consider once Gideon has been defeated. We already have direction going into the next season. On top of that, it seems like this villain's got some big plans, and he's dropping loads of hints. And not just what Bill Cipher himself is also dropping, but what Grunkle Stan's Mindscape is also foreshadowing. The reveal of who the author of the journals is, what happened in the past, and that there's something very sinister coming in the very near future. The first season has dealt with monsters of the week, silly little mysteries, things kind of building up to this point, and Gideon kind of being the main villain throughout. Well, now a lot of that stuff has been wrapped up. Dipper and Mable have gotten to the point where they can deal with the monster and mystery of the week fairly easily. Their big nemesis thus far, Gideon, has been taken care of, and now with everything right back to the way it ought to be in Gravity Falls, it appears like the absolute happiest of endings. And yet, combined with now that Grunkle Stan's opening up a portal and that there's some weird, crazy Dorito demon on the loose, this means that all of the simple stuff is now kind of out of the way. And this is what allows Season 2 to go far more full throttle with its horrors, its adventures, its dangers. And I think this is one of the reasons why the fan base looks back on Season 2 with a lot more love and admiration, because those episodes go way harder because, well, again, all the easy, fun, kiddie stuff was taken care of in Season 1. We can now take it up to the next level in Season 2. And as writers, if we're thinking about doing long stories, one where we're going to have multiple installments if you got a long series of books, or you're also thinking of creating your own shows, this is something to really bear in mind. It's really, really easy to get kind of stuck at one level and just kind of run with it. But as a series progresses, you want to be able to up the stakes. You want to be able to take it to another level. You want to be able to show progression. And to be frank, too many writers take the route of, well, we're just going to do something even bigger and badder. And I know I just said that Gravity Falls Season 2 is able to take it to the next level with far more dangerous monsters of the week, far greater villains, far bigger mysteries and the likes, because they've gotten the kiddie stuff out of the way. But when you start comparing the episodes of Season 1 to Season 2, it's not that the villains are far more powerful with far bigger schemes in mind, aside from Bill Cipher, but really it is that that things can just go a little bit harder, a little bit darker. The stakes are more personal with these characters. The low stakes level stuff is now out of the way, and being able to tell that subtle difference as an author takes time and practice. And maybe another way of kind of showing the difference is, let's say that you just got like a teenage drama story that you're writing, and you've got a kid who's trying out for the football team, and he's having a really hard time even making it to second string. And the real drama at first is, will he be able to make it onto the football team? At the same time, will he be able to tell the girl that he likes that he indeed has a crush on her, and that she will reciprocate? These are good, personal, low-level stakes, but important to the main character. And then by the end, yes, he makes it onto the second string team. And you know what? Maybe even the girl says, yeah, sure, I'll take it. I'll go out on a date with you. Well, okay, well, awesome. So we've met that level. Well, then, later on, it's now time for one of the big games. Not the big game, but one of the first seat players is now out. Time to bring up the second string. Our protagonist now has the chance to take to the field and show what he's really worth. And oh boy, playing in a big game is way harder than doing practice. And so suddenly everything that he had done before has set him up for this moment, but it hurts so much more. The stakes are so much higher in that moment. And then on top of that, the girl that he was able to take a date on, take out on a date that he really likes, well, she's saying, you know what, I really am interested in another person. And now our main character has to deal with whole new depths of heartbreak that he wouldn't have experienced if she had just told him no from the get-go. In this instance, it's still a lot of teenage drama, and it's still football and dating, but things have gotten more intense thanks to what happened earlier. And that's what's happening here with Gravity Falls. All of this fun stuff from Season 1, and even though there have been some really good dark episodes, all of this is to set up a far more intense series of encounters going into Season 2. And now that Gideon is kind of out of the way, and now we're being introduced to big villains and to really big mysteries, the story can now kind of take off its kitty gloves and really dive into the meat of what Alex Hirsch had wanted to do with Gravity Falls all along. So, with that being said, this has been my weekly review and analysis for Gravity Falls through the canon events leading up to Weirdmageddon as we approach the 10th anniversary of the Pines saving the world from the evil Dorito demon. I hope that you'll continue with us as we go week by week through the canon events. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and if you'd like to further support the work that we do here at Camille's Harem, please check out the books that we have published. Links for them are in the description below. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible adventure that we call writing, and until the next video, y'all, tschüss.
Here we go.